And next week, we're actually going to invest in some of that and look at some of that and what that means for us. But there are portions where God says, look, I don't want your religious sacrifice anymore. Because you guys aren't living the life. You aren't living the way I've called you to live. So listen again to the words of Romans 12:1-2, and I just want to end with this from the Message. So here's what I want you to do. God helping you. Take your everyday, ordinary life, your sleeping, eating, going to work, and walking around life, and place it before God as an offering. Embracing what God does for you is the best thing that you can do for Him. Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what He wants from you and quickly respond to it. Unlike the culture around you, always dragging you down to this level of immaturity, God brings the best out of you and develops well-formed maturity in you. As we close today, I know we've talked about some of this concept and this idea. I really don't want this idea of living a life of worship to be some esoteric, lofty, ethereal idea, as it often can be. I don't want us to leave this place thinking, man, okay, God wants me to live a life of worship, but how do I do that? What does that look like? What does that mean? And I hope some of the things we've talked about today help with that. But I want this to be practical. I want it to be something you can live and begin practicing even today. So I wanted to end this morning by just spending a few minutes sharing some practical ideas of ways you can begin worshiping God in your everyday life. And I thought, okay, this is the way I work. If you guys aren't used to this, I'm sorry, but I like to teach by interacting, and if you haven't noticed yet. So this is a off-the-cuff thing, but I'm wondering if a few people have a few ideas they'd be willing to share. I shared the idea of just washing the dishes and how you can turn that into an act of worship. What are some other things, practical everyday situations, where we can honor God and worship Him in the things that we do? Anybody have thoughts? Lisa, yeah. Yeah, those are great. Those are great moments, the down times when we're just doing boring stuff like driving. Take advantage of those moments. Realize God is here in this moment. Those are some of my best prayer times, man, driving in the car. It just gives you that time to focus. Take those opportunities as God brings things to your mind to pray, interact with God. What else? Other ideas? Other things? What are other everyday situations? How do you honor God when you go to the office on tomorrow morning? What are ways that, yeah?
Being positive.
Absolutely, that's huge. Just our attitude, isn't it? It's Monday morning. Blah, 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 blah. That's not honoring God, really, is it? But she's like, man, God's here today. It's Monday morning. Maybe I don't feel like going to work today, but that's okay. I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to declare that this is the day that God has made. I'm going to make a choice to rejoice and to be glad and to have a good attitude and to go into that place and, man, just have a positive, that honors God, that blesses Him. And again, it begins this awareness. God is here, and I'm going to choose to honor Him in this moment. What else? Bobby, did you have something?
I've been trying to think of something about to say to somebody that's a real thing, not made up, something that pay attention to people and see something they did that is good or that is nice or whatever, and then tell them about it. And to build them up. That person the Bible says to build them up.
Yeah.
I've been trying to do that. But not a made up thing. Something really I noticed.
Yeah, good.
Look at somebody in the eyes that you wouldn't normally look at and give them a smile and say hi.
Yeah, and that's awesome. Simple things, man. Somebody that you'd normally walk by and pay no attention to, going, God's here. I noticed that person today. I'm going to stop and notice them. Just make eye contact and give them a smile, or even stop and have a conversation. So simple, but again, it's looking at every moment of every day, and it doesn't have to be complex. Again, it's those two principles that Paul seems to teach here. Number one, we have to be aware that God's there. We have to be aware of His presence. We have to be aware, because our worship is in response to Him, isn't it? And so we're aware of Him, and then we choose. We make the tough choices. This isn't a distant and far-off idea for any of us. Every moment we have a choice to either honor God or honor something else, as we've talked about. And so my challenge to you is work at number one, keeping your awareness of God alive. And that's challenge number one, because we get so caught up in the busyness of the day that we often forget about God, don't we? So challenge number one is just work at ways you can keep your awareness of God alive, because that's where it begins. And then number two, choose to honor him in everything you do and everything you say. It's living a life of worship. Take a look at this video.